climbing up to 4,500, heading up 110.
Cherokee 282 Hotel Papa, SoCal approach, roger.
So it's the 40th anniversary of Shenzhen this week, which is quite mind-blowing if you see how massive the city has grown in such a short period of time. I was around for the 30th anniversary of Shenzhen.
Say something.
Yes, happy birthday Shenzhen. I'm going to drink your shitty beer. And so I thought, you know what, let's go back to my old stomping grounds and look around. And since I can't get into China through the border normally, I thought I'd just charter a plane and fly in and take a look from above. Right, obviously, I'm not actually flying in. This is the new Microsoft Flight Simulator, but I thought, let's see how accurate it is. And I'm flying right now where I've taken drone footage before. I thought I'd basically take you guys around and we could see how accurate Microsoft Flight Simulator is when it comes to depicting Shenzhen, the city I lived for so many years. Now, this, I have to be honest, is not very accurate so far. There's supposed to be a very big sort of, what do you call it, stadium right there that they built for the Universiade back in, I think it was 2012. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go all the way down Binhe Dadao, which becomes Binhai Dadao. So it means next to the sea and then next to the river road is what it is. And we're going to just edge our way towards where I used to live. The place I enjoyed living the most actually while I was in Shenzhen, and I thought maybe we could spot a couple of things along the way. Now you can actually see over the bay there Hong Kong, the new territories, and that is in fact very well detailed. You know, I've flown through there in the flight simulator and it's actually incredibly detailed. This is a terrible plane, but it's the most accurate to what we actually flew in the other day. So alright, what you're seeing coming up on the left hand side is what's called the OCT Happy Bay. Now I do have drone footage of that, which I will then we can compare. I'm going to pause it once we get to that little place so we can actually see what it's all about. It's actually a very nice little place. You go there, you walk around, there's some artificial lakes and rivers and things, and it's actually quite a nice place to go and chill. Coffee shops and all that kind of thing. Okay, I'm just going to pause it right about here. Okay, now we can look around and you'll actually see, oops, sorry, wrong way. Getting used to the controls. I have such a janky setup to record this, you have no idea. But you can actually see in the distance there the IMAX theater and you know, all the little restaurants and shops and so on. And you know what, I'll be quite honest with you, it's fairly accurate. I mean, I could recognize it straight off the bat. But yeah, of course, the buildings are just an approximation. It's not that great. You know, the one thing that I've noticed the most about all the cities I've flown in Microsoft Flight Simulator that I've flown into China is they get the height of the buildings wrong. Because Chinese cities have a lot of very tall buildings and it's quite unusual to the rest of the world. So what they've done is they've seen these very tall buildings and what they've done then is just reduce them to like 1 or 2 story buildings. Anyway, let's try not to crash and let's continue. Try to get behind the plane again. Okay, so we're continuing on Binhe Dadao. You've got the sort of Hongshulin mangrove and all that to the right here. It's all fairly accurate, you know. I know the city very well, having lived there so much and traveled, you know, so much around the city and explored it so much, that I can tell you that, you know, this is at least, obviously they're using a satellite image, but it's at least pretty accurate. I can recognize everything. And in the distance there, we can start to see some of the bigger buildings like the, what is it? We can see the Ping An Dasha in the distance. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to go off to the right here. And I want to specifically see if we can spot the Hong Kong PLA Garrison. And that is where the Chinese military garrison that's set up to deal with Hong Kong is located. And a friend of mine actually lived just across the way from it. And I filmed it with my drone, not on purpose, but I do have drone footage of it, which I'm going to show you now. And what we're going to do then is go down to the building the building area where some friends of mine used to live, and we'll see if we can recognize them. Okay, so we should be able to start to see those buildings come up. It's called Yitian, the Yitian area, Yitian. So I actually have some nice drone footage of that area because it's quite pretty. And at night you can look down and see the sort of CBD, the Futian CBD where Coco Park and all of that is. It's actually very nice. Okay, we're getting very close. If you look down there, you can see some construction. In fact, I have a nice drone shot of that. So I'm just going to pause it there so we can kind of do a comparison. Now, if you look at my drone footage, I was taking it from a building across the way there. You will notice that there's actually a lot of buildings lining the side of the road here, fairly tall ones, and they've kind of messed that up, unfortunately, so it's not incredibly accurate, but let us continue anyway. Let's get behind the plane there. Trying to look for the distinctive shape of the Yitian twin buildings, and so far I'm not seeing them because they should be coming up on the right somewhere. Ah, okay. Here we are. I believe that would be the Yitian twin area, and let me just pause it right about there. Okay, now in my drone shot you can see me standing on the top of one of these buildings over here on the one of these buildings over here on the right. And of course in the flight simulator they look like they're like maybe 3-4 stories high. They're actually more like 30 odd floors high. And that over there, which kind of looks like a schoolyard track, that is the Hong Kong PLA Garrison, and over there is where the military does training and stuff. I've seen them do it and mess about over there. So yeah, that's what that is. Now, we're going to look at some of these skyscrapers. This over here, I guess, is supposed to be the Ping An Dasha, which is, like, was at some point the tallest building in Shenzhen. I believe it probably still is. That looks nothing like that, so they really messed that one up. Good job, guys. And down in the distance there, I'm guessing that this is supposed to be the Kinki 100, the KK Mall, and Diwang Dasha. So let's get a little closer because that's where I used to live. Also, take note of these fish farms on the side here with that river. You'll see in a lot of my drone shots, because I lived down here, I used to take off from my building and you get this amazing view of these kind of fish farms over here. And this river, the border between Hong Kong, New Territories, and Shenzhen is over here. So let's continue on, shall we, and see if we can find out where I used to live and see how accurate it is. So we'll continue on down here. It's actually quite fun. I'm really enjoying revisiting a lot of the areas that I used to go to so often. I used to really explore the hell out of this city, so I know it incredibly well. Okay, what else? What have we got here? Now we're getting very close. Okay, we're getting very close to where I used to live. I can see right over there my house. I can see it. Let me just pull in and pause over there. Okay. Now what you've got over here, this I suppose is the Kinki 100, which before the Ping An Dasha was the tallest building. You've seen this in a lot of my videos. In fact, I flew a drone over the top of that at some point. Here you have like the Shenzhen Stock Exchange and stuff, but it hasn't really come out. It looks like garbage. And over there, I guess I kind of got the side of the building right, but it's missing the 2 parapets and it's supposed to be blue. But this is Diwang Dasha, which was the original tallest building in Shenzhen. In fact, probably in China at some point. Now, if we look down here, there's a little village here. And I used to really enjoy walking around in this village. Over here too, these little urban villages. And just beyond that, this building over here, this is where I used to live. But that is a 32-story building, and in here it looks like it's maybe 5 stories high. See if we can get a little closer without crashing. Okay. All right, and pause it about there. Now, let's see. Oops, turn around. That tiny little thing, whenever you see me taking my drone off, it's always from on top of this building. And it's supposed to be very tall. And right behind it there, we see the Mixed City Mall, the Mixed City, the Wangxiangcheng, which was the original big fancy mall of Shenzhen. Of course, there are countless big malls around Shenzhen now. But back in the day, that was the one. If you wanted to see Gucci and LV and all the expensive brands, that's the only place you could go in the city to see it. Cool. So we're going to finish this off by going to the Lohu train station. Okay. I do have some footage from there, and we're just going to see, because that's where you go to cross the border to get into Hong Kong. One of the points anyway. So it's, I mean, the fact that I can recognize everything is great, but I gotta say the accuracy is maybe like a 3 out of 10. Like all the buildings anyway. And like I said, I don't blame them. It's just the nature of the beast. Anyway, let us continue down to the Lohu train station, which is over here. This is the border. And we should be able to see the Lohu commercial city where my tailor is and all the other bits and pieces. And yes, there it is. That's kind of cool. Let me pause it right there. All right. So if we look down here, this is that big sort of bus terminal. You come here. There's a big bus terminal underneath this building, and this is that Lohu commercial shopping center, which is full of all the scammers and full of all the fake products that you can buy. But on top of that, my tailor, which is I can highly recommend, is in that building. And you walk kind of here, and then you go up into the station, and you can walk over, and then you get on the train to go to Hong Kong through there. So I actually have some drone footage of me taking off from this building somewhere and going up, so you can actually see, you'll be able to see off into, let's see which direction it would be, this direction, kind of looking into that direction. So we can take a look and see how accurate it all is. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this fun little fly around just a small portion of the city. I actually did this the other night with my wife when I first got the flight simulator, and we flew over all the places we used to live and had a laugh at just how inaccurate most of it is. But I've got proper drone footage of all these areas, and so you can compare the real thing to Flight Simulator. And I mean, again, this just proves it's not Microsoft's fault. You can fly around Hong Kong in the simulator and it's pretty accurate. You can fly around New York or London or any other big city. But, you know, China, unfortunately, doesn't... They're very stingy with their maps, let's put it that way. You know, you don't have Google Street View in China, because they've blocked Google and all that. They have their own homegrown versions from Baidu Maps and things, but unfortunately, you know, it's almost impossible to get accurate data from within China, unless of course you've lived there as long as I have and have actual drone footage of the place. So Microsoft, feel free to use my drone footage to create these buildings correctly. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I know it's a fun one today. It's a little different. I can't wait to see you in the next one, where we'll probably get a little more serious again. So until then, you know the drill. As always, stay awesome.